3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Sunday question and answer, where we take your comments and we reply to them. So let's start off right away here.
Can I just say before we get started, there may be a question that I might have brought up and said, Danny, we should talk about this on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I don't know the questions.
Yes.
You pick them, and we're just discussing them for the first time.
Correct.
Live here. Well, taped, but live.
Yes.
Do we still say taped or recorded?
I don't know.
Am I showing my age when I say taped?
I think so. Let's just say recorded.
A lot of people know what I mean when I say taped.
Anyways, let's get right into it here. So the first comment comes
It just blows me off. Anyways, go ahead.
The first comment comes from Acura Calibar 11. Now, this is it's a long comment, but it brings up an interesting point that we talk about in quite a few of our videos. So they say,
let's hear it.
99.9% of people in this world are selfish. When
Yes.
people were buyers, they were upset about price. When they become sellers, they're still upset about the price. Point is, humans only care about themselves and their families. Everyone complains because they are being on the wrong side of the oppression. Once they are the oppressors, they don't care anymore. Only a few elders live in this world that actually put good things above their own needs, even if their family is not rewarded greatly. When I bought my house, just say he was a nice man. Just say I was the lowest offer, and the man really liked the fact that as a young man starting a family, and he gave me a 25% discount on a very expensive property. His wife was so upset. She wanted to squeeze everything, but then he said to her, "We came to this country rich. We didn't have any help. We made it right to the top." Man, her face sunk.
Reread the last sentence. We didn't come to this country rich.
Yeah.
You said we came to this country rich.
She wanted to squeeze everything, but then he said to her, "I guess we came to rich to this country. We didn't have any help. We made it right to the top." Man, her face sunk.
For the most part, except the very last part where somebody gave him 25% off. Everything else is just human nature. Yeah, most people are selfish. I mean, you're going to do for most people, what's in your best interest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just life. It's human nature. That's the way it is. You're going to protect you. You're going to protect your family. There's ways of doing it where you don't have to be a selfish jerk about it. You can still reap rewards and help your fellow man at the same time, and just be fair about stuff. But most people are kind of greedy when it comes to that, and especially when it comes to selling real estate. Absolutely, top dollar is what's going to get it often. Every now and then we've come across a situation where
I was just about to say,
it's not always the top dollar bid that gets it. Sometimes
Yes.
the seller has a soft spot for one of the other buyers for whatever reason. Could be single mom. It could be somebody struggling to buy it.
We had that situation with one of our buyers. I remember it so clearly. It was as we were walking through the house doing the showing before they had put in an offer. They realized that they were basically part of the same church group.
Right.
And that helped their client quite a bit get a discount from
not 25%.
Not 25%. You don't see that too often.
$5,000 or $10,000 off the price,
Yeah.
maybe, but not 25%.
Yeah.
But yeah, every now and then. But most people are, selfish. That's just human nature.
Okay, so next comment here is from F87, and they say the APS should contain a pre-closing damage clause. I should preface this by saying that this was with the video that we did with regards to when appliances get swapped out or stuff's missing from the home on closing,
or they're not working.
Yeah, so F87 says the APS should contain a pre-closing damage clause. This clause requires the seller to repair or address any damages, theft, or other losses suffered to the property, including material changes during the pre-closing period. This places the onus on the seller, who is in a position to mitigate these occurrences. Get a good lawyer, not someone who uses templates that are 20 years old.
There's actually a lot to this question. It sounds simple enough. The comment is the APS, the Agreement of Purchase and Sale, which is the form we use when we submit an offer on behalf of a buyer.
Mhm.
So this person's saying that the agreement of purchase and sale should have a clause saying that seller is responsible for, let's just say, the appliance, the chattels, everything included in the purchase price.
Yeah.
So all electric light fixtures, all window coverings, all appliances, whatever's included needs to be in good working order, and the seller's responsible for these before closing. It sounds like a good thing, but it actually really would complicate things if that was in the standard wording. In the agreement of purchase and sale, the only thing that deals with chattels that's part of the pre-written agreement is that the chattels and fixtures included in the agreement of purchase and sale are free from any liens and encumbrances. Like the seller basically actually owns these, and when the buyer takes over, the buyer's not taking over any finance payments or anything on these things, right? So that's the only thing. If you want the seller responsible in Schedule A, you will need to write a clause saying that they need to be in good working order. The reason I'm saying this is a little bit complicated and including this, what does good working order mean? And what does other statements that would be part of that mean? Because sometimes, many times, I will scratch out the word good. Like if I'm on the seller side and I receive an offer and they've written a clause that says all chattels and fixtures need to be in good working order, I scratch out the word good. They've got to be in working order. These are used appliances, right? They're not brand new, still wrapped and placed in the home. In most cases, they're used appliances, and they're going to be used right up until closing.
Yeah.
And what's good working order mean? Like they got to be brand new? So scratch out the word good. So they got to be in working order. But to whose standard? To whose level? So many times this is an area of the agreement that there's arguments and there's issues. So you got to really be careful. So I don't see anybody putting that in as part of the standard agreement of purchase and sale. What it should say, in my opinion, is all chattels and fixtures are in as is condition unless otherwise stated.
Yeah.
So not to put the onus on, like you're taking your chances with this.
Yeah, and
But,
I think I think it also goes to value too, right? Because we had a situation where the stove, the range, was a Wolf appliance, right?
Yeah,
And
high
the
end.
stove itself was like I think just under $30,000 range.
Just for the stove.
Just
yeah.
for the range. And it was replaced with, I think it was like a $3,500, still a nice range, but much different value. And both of those are in good working order, right? So it's
but it's not what the buyer bought.
Yeah,
it's not what the buyer bought. They're looking at the house. They say, okay, we're buying it. When you swap out the appliances, so
and that happens often where we see, okay, someone says, okay, we're going to take this, but we're going to replace it with something similar.
Yeah, but they know. Like if you know up front, if it's in the agreement that says, this stove is not included, but or this range is not included, or this fridge is not included, but we will replace it with something of, similar or lesser, whatever, something to the effect where the buyer knows everything is up front and explained, it's no problem. But it's when, surprise.
Okay, so next question here is from Vincent Young 9115.
Hey, Vincent.
And Vincent says, for the sold prices, can you break it down per square foot or sold prices for 1 bedrooms versus 2 bedrooms? From your past videos, we get the impression only the larger 2-bedroom units are selling.
Vincent, I could break it down in a million different ways, but then I can't do my job, which is actually helping sellers and buyers. We are realtors. That's our first priority, our first job, our full-time job, 7 days a week. These videos that we do, it's to educate, it's to help, it's to get real information out there. We'll look at sometimes breaking it down a little bit more, but we
It's just, but there's so many different variations
There's
too, right? And
absolutely, and then
even
having the data actually,
yeah,
like
that's what I was gonna say as well. It's like, a lot of agents don't even list the actual square footage, and if they do, you'd have to kind of go in there individually, or else you're stuck with just the range, right?
right. And then
So
you get the crossover. You get the one bedroom that say is 700 to 800 square feet,
mhm,
one bedroom, and then you get two bedrooms,
yeah,
700 to 800 square feet.
that's right.
You got to separate all that. And Vincent, look, we look at it, we comment on those,
Mhm.
but breaking
We
it
do,
down.
we've done it a couple times, and maybe we'll do it more often when we actually get the data. We go through it a little bit, and so maybe we'll make a point of trying to gather a little bit more detailed information if we could. So next question here, next comment comes from the Ikaru, and they say the thing about condos is a lot of them are crappy 550 square foot shoeboxes. The market is flooded with crappy small condos that people would never buy for themselves. Does that ruin the data?
Part of the debt. I tend to agree with the whole comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're crappy shoe boxes. They're small, um, made for investors to buy and rent out to somebody else, and the people renting them,
You get a lot. You catch a lot of heat for saying investors. You got to say speculators.
speculators, investors, speculators,
Say wannabe investors, I guess.
wannabe investors. I mean, look, a 500 square foot
Mhm.
shoebox or whatever you want to call it. It's great for a single person, a
Yeah,
student renting it out. It's great even for a young couple getting started to rent out. But when they go to buy, it's really not what they want to buy. They want to buy
yeah,
something bigger, more space where they can maybe entertain people. And, it's just a whole different animal when you're buying versus when you're renting. And those are the buyers right now.
yeah.
They're looking to buy and live for themselves versus buy and rent it out to somebody else.
So, I mean, does it ruin the data?
No, it's the data.
Yeah.
It's average sold price is average sold price. It's part of the data.
But I guess to answer that too, like what we have noticed is that more of the nicer, bigger units, like we talked about in the previous comment, the nicer, bigger units are selling. So I guess those
That's always been the
more,
case.
yeah,
Even in an upturn market, or when we talk
mhm.
about peak pricing and when prices are going up every month, it's always in.
Yeah. It's just in that time you'd probably also have a lot more of the shoe boxes selling too, right? That would
Yeah,
skew the data a bit.
yeah.
But okay, so next comment here comes from Mithun Das
Mithun.
YF2FU. And Mithun says, if the seller was doing, and this is this is with the security camera video.
Oh,
So it was actually really interesting because the security cameras on this house, they like you had they were all different kinds, right?
different makes,
Like
different models,
yeah,
different systems.
one of them actually looked like a webcam that was like run the wires were run through the inside. But anyways, Mithun says if the seller was doing illegal activities, they probably wouldn't have cameras.
I commented back on this
Yeah,
one.
did you?
I did. I commented back on this one, and I said, "Look, I'm not an expert in illegal activities, but there's, from what you read or what you see on TV
Yeah,
shows and all that, it's a lot of these people that are doing illegal activities, they want to protect whatever they got going on,
yeah,
or they want to be warned
yeah,
if either police or enemy gangsters are looking to show up. They want to be protected, and so I don't agree with what the statement is, but this is a real estate show, not how to
yeah.
protect your illegal activities.
And Public Service 9683 says they were counting the gold bars.
Yeah, yeah. We should include the gold bars
Oh
in as
boy.
part of the shadows.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so next comment here comes from Cassius John Adams, and they say, I know only sale price dictate the average price of condos, but I definitely like to know the average asking price too to see if seller sentiment is shifting at all.
I've looked at that number many times where we take the average list price, and because of the variation of listing, say at a traditional normal price, and the amount of sellers still trying to list with an offer date, and then it doesn't work, and then they relist, the numbers not, it doesn't really show much. Like it's just not going to show, look, average list price is going up but sold price is coming down, or it really doesn't show much.
Yeah.
It's just, it's going to be a number. We'll be able to comment on it, but there's no relevance to that number. Like you just can't, it's not like, say, active listings or sold price is a definite number.
Yeah.
The list price could be this today, and then they drop it by 20,000 a week later, and it's another number. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, and Samson Yusuf 9254 says, "Hi, thank you for the info as always. I believe Durham usually has that 60% at or above list prices because the list price is put at $699 and $799 to attract people. Obviously, the sold prices will be higher than the aforementioned, at least for now." And then Mark commented underneath, Mark Z1013 commented, "Exactly, shouldn't even be a stat." I know
sold at list price or the percentage sold at list price or more.
Yeah, that's what I want to highlight here, is that a lot of we get quite a few comments of people saying like, "Hey, of course it's sold at list price or more. They price it at $1 and expect more."
Yeah.
Right. And so why is that an important metric?
So the percentage sold at list price or more is not the percentage over list price that the properties are selling at. It's just quantity of homes that have sold at list price or more.
Yes.
And if you look at that percentage, when the market is trending up, prices are increasing, and there's more confidence from the seller side, which in turn confidence from the realtor side. The realtor or the seller is going to say, "Hey, when we list this, let's list it low so we can get multiple offers."
Because they're expecting to get a number, but it could be higher, right?
Correct. And there's so much confidence in the market that actually happens to a high percentage of properties. So when market was trending up, you'll recall that the percentage sold at list price or more was in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Especially in Durham. Durham
was nuts.
Crazy, I remember.
So my advice to a buyer in this market is I could show them that percentage and say, here's what to expect when we go to buy. You can expect to compete. You can expect to, you better have your pre-approval all lined up. If we want to do we don't have time to, negotiate down on some of these. There's all sorts of factors, but when the percentage sold at list price or more, say is in the 20s or 30s, that's a different story. And it's like, yeah, there's going to be some properties like that, but there's going to be others where are priced traditionally, and we can negotiate down. It's easier to have conditions. They won't hurt you as much. So it speaks to the market and the level of confidence in the market. That's why I use that percentage.
And that's all it's for.
That's all it's for.
And because we've seen it. I mean, we've been doing this long enough and putting these videos out long enough to see, when things are at the high peak of the market, you'll get 80, 90% selling at list price or more. And now that things have drastically slowed down, we see a lot of these in the 30s, 20s, 30s, right?
The data all ties in together though.
Yeah.
So as months of inventory go up, prices tend to come down. That's why we look at months of inventory, supply and demand basically. As months of inventory go up, prices tend to go down. But also as months of inventory goes up, the percentage sold at list price or more tends to come down. As prices come down, the percentage comes down, sold at list price or more. Months of it, they're all tied in to each other, and it's not necessarily exact the same week. Sometimes there's a delay, but it also helps us to understand what's going on in the market so we could properly advise our sellers and buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get sellers. I'm at a listing appointment and they're excited about the whole, I want multiple, every seller wants multiple offers, and they'll say, yeah, this is what we want to do. What do you think? I could show them the success rate. Look, there's only, 20% of properties in your neighborhood selling at list price or more.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we have to do for that. But the majority are selling this way. You show them the data, things are more clear.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that answers that for any future people that comment that metric is useless.
They weren't expecting a quick answer there, were they?
I don't know. But so next comment here comes from Baby Jazz 9422. Baby Jazz?
Baby Jazz.
Baby Jazz. Baby Jazz says, and this is with regards to the condo video, he say, I'm facing this now. Bought a condo in Mississauga, square one for $650,000. 2-bed, 1 tiny den, 2 full baths, 680 square feet. I'm on occupancy closing at the moment, trying to rent, but seems impossible. Occupancy fee is $4,200.
Wow.
But rental market's around $2,600.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
$1,600 cash flow negative.
Yeah.
You really should be, it was Baby Jazz?
Baby Jazz.
You really should be having a conversation with I'm assuming you're not buying it in cash. You're like most people getting a mortgage on this. You really should be speaking with your bank, seeing if they're going to be doing an appraisal, seeing if you still qualify for the mortgage you think you're qualifying for, because that could add to another problem if you can't even close on this.
Yeah. Okay, so next comment, I said we will always end our shows.
And positive?
End our shows on a positive comment. This is actually a really long one. So Daniel Webb 5082 says, very good job as always.
Thank you. Can we just stop there? But is there a but?
No, there's no but. There's no but. It's just, I guess, a nice way to end off here. You've been explained quite eloquently the many traps exuberant buyers face when FOMO takes hold of them. The last 3 years, my wife and I wanted sometime desperately. I don't know why I can't read today. The last 3 years, my wife and I wanted sometime desperately to buy a detached home. Part of it was fear of not realizing our goal, but part of it was also feeling less than every time we'd visit a beautiful home and the numbers did not make sense. As a stock trader in Canada, we see the exact same type of behaviors exhibited in the stock market. Emotional trading and exuberance that has caused people to chase the market, buy at the high, and sell at a loss. It took me 4 years of trading, making stupid mistakes to overcome FOMO and irrational decision making. That has helped so much in deciding when to buy a house. There was so much pressure from family members to buy now, buy now, buy now, or you'll never own a home, but I held my ground to wait. The end result? We saved up a good down payment and believe strongly that prices are heading down. I have no doubt, based on world economics, geopolitics, etc., that a fairly steep correction is coming. Thank you for all you do on your channel. I watch each day, and the information you provide aligns perfectly with what I'm seeing. It gives people the confidence to be patient and not put themselves in a situation that doesn't make financial sense. A house should be like a sail that allows you to move, grow, or live freely, and not an anchor.
Great comment. Thank you. I'm glad these videos helped you out.
So that's it for today. Thank you guys again for all your comments. If you'd like to be featured on the show, please make sure you comment on the video, this video that you're watching now. Make sure you leave your comments in the videos throughout the week, and we will pick the ones we like and feature them on this show. Thanks again. Enjoy your Sunday, and we'll see you again on Tuesday.
Thank you, folks. Lots of soccer this weekend.
Yes, enjoy.